Love is supposed to be the greatest feeling in the world, right? But in today's world, many people are struggling to make relationships work. In fact, did you know that nearly 50% of marriages end in divorce? And it's not just marriage, the average length of a relationship today is only about 2 years. With dating apps and social media connecting us more than ever, you might think love should be easier, but it's actually harder than before. This video dives into why modern love seems broken and what we can do to fix it. From chasing unrealistic perfect love stories to the rise of ghosting and shallow connections, we're going to explore what's really going wrong. Plus, we'll share powerful strategies that can help you build real, lasting connections. Ready to rethink love? Stick around, you'll be surprised at what you learn. Chapter 1: The Illusion of Perfection. Why we're chasing fairy tales in today's world. Love is often painted as a perfect, idyllic journey, thanks to movies and social media. We've been fed the idea that love should always be passionate, effortless, and unbreakable. However, this notion of perfect love can create unrealistic expectations. In fact, studies show that 40% of people in relationships feel dissatisfied because their partners don't live up to these fairy tale standards. We've grown accustomed to seeing idealized images of love on Instagram and in rom-coms. But real life isn't like the movies. Love takes work, patience, and vulnerability. The truth is, the pursuit of perfection in love can often set us up for failure. We believe that a perfect relationship will solve all our problems and bring us ultimate happiness. But according to psychologist Dr. Esther Perel, perfectionism is the enemy of love. We end up focusing on what's missing rather than appreciating what we have. By chasing an ideal, we overlook the beauty of the imperfect moments. Relationships that are built on authenticity rather than perfection are the ones that last. Rather than aiming for flawless romance, try embracing love in its raw form. Accept the flaws and uncertainties. Research shows that couples who are able to communicate their imperfections build stronger, more resilient connections. So next time you feel frustrated with your partner, remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being real. Chapter 2: Swipe right, wrong connection, the paradox of dating apps. Dating apps were meant to make love easier. But have they? A 2022 study by Pew Research found that 30% of dating app users have felt disillusioned by shallow connections. We might think more choices lead to better outcomes, but paradoxically, the endless swiping often leads to more confusion. While dating apps promise a chance to meet someone new every day, they often result in short-term flings or ghosting, rather than lasting relationships. The problem? With too many options, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of novelty. Psychologist Dr. Lori Gottlieb explains that we often choose relationships based on convenience or superficial traits, such as physical appearance, instead of emotional compatibility. While apps like Tinder offer instant connections, they often fail to build lasting emotional bonds. The result is a paradox: more connections, less satisfaction. If you're using dating apps, try to be intentional. Rather than swiping endlessly, take time to reflect on what truly matters in a partner. According to a study by the University of California, couples who take the time to discuss their values and goals early in a relationship have a higher chance of success. Quality over quantity should be the new mantra when swiping through potential matches. Another strategy? Be patient. As Dr. Gottlieb also points out, real connection takes time to develop. Don't rush into relationships simply because they're available. True compatibility isn't something you find in a few minutes of swiping, it's something that grows through shared experiences and genuine conversation. Chapter 3: Ghosting, Breadcrumbing, and the Rise of Toxic Terms. We've all heard the terms ghosting and breadcrumbing, but what do they really mean for modern relationships? Ghosting refers to suddenly cutting off all contact with someone without explanation. It's a form of avoidance that has become far too common in today's digital age. A survey by the dating app Hinge revealed that 80% of people have experienced ghosting at some point. The emotional toll is real, and it leaves many people feeling confused, hurt, and unsure of what went wrong. Breadcrumbing is a similar concept, where one person sends small, intermittent gestures of interest, just enough to keep the other person invested, but not enough to form a real connection. This just enough to keep them hanging behavior has grown with social media, where people can send likes or a quick text without the responsibility of deeper communication. Dr. Alexandra Solomon, a relationship expert, notes that these behaviors are a sign of emotional immaturity, where people avoid confrontation or are simply not ready for commitment. The rise of these toxic terms highlights a bigger issue. Modern relationships often lack the emotional maturity needed for healthy communication. A study by the American Psychological Association found that more than 40% of people avoid difficult conversations, which leads to misunderstandings and fractured relationships. It's easier to block someone than to explain why you're not interested, but this only leads to unresolved feelings and unnecessary heartache. So, how can we combat these behaviors? The first step is cultivating emotional intelligence. When you're ready for a relationship, it's important to be clear about your intentions. If you're not feeling it, communicate respectfully. According to Dr. Perel, the quality of your communication is the quality of your relationship. Being upfront about your feelings can save both you and your partner a lot of confusion and pain. Another strategy is to set boundaries early on. Knowing what you want from a relationship and expressing that from the start can prevent mixed signals and hurt feelings later. If you're being breadcrumbed or ghosted, don't be afraid to walk away. Healthy relationships require honesty and effort from both parties. Anything less is simply not worth your time. If you're finding these insights helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more on how to improve your relationships and love life. Chapter 4, Emotional Baggage 2.0, Are we really ready for love? We all carry emotional baggage, whether we like to admit it or not. But in today's fast-paced world, many people aren't aware of how much their past affects their current relationships. Research by the National Institute of Mental Health shows that unresolved trauma or negative experiences from the past can deeply impact future relationships. This emotional baggage often manifests as trust issues, fear of abandonment, or difficulty with communication. Dr. John Gottman, a leading researcher on relationships, points out that unresolved emotional baggage can predict the failure of a relationship more accurately than almost any other factor. If we don't address our past hurts, they have a way of creeping into new relationships, sabotaging potential happiness. But it's not just about resolving past pain, it's about emotional awareness. How can we connect with someone if we don't understand ourselves first? A strategy to overcome emotional baggage is to practice self-awareness. Take time to reflect on your past experiences and how they shape your current emotional responses. Journaling can be an excellent way to process feelings and uncover patterns. Studies show that writing down emotions helps release them, lowering stress and making room for healthier connections. Seeking therapy can also be a game changer. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is proven to help individuals break negative thought patterns and heal from past emotional wounds. If you're finding it difficult to move forward, working with a professional can provide the guidance you need. Remember, addressing your emotional baggage isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Another helpful strategy is practicing emotional regulation. Dr. Perel states that learning how to manage intense emotions in relationships can reduce misunderstandings and enhance emotional connection. By acknowledging your triggers and working through them, you're more likely to experience healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Chapter 5, The Hustle Culture and Love, Can We Have Both? In the modern world, there's a pressure to always be busy, constantly hustling, and striving for success. But this fast-paced mentality can take a toll on relationships. According to a survey by LinkedIn, 60% of millennials report feeling overworked and stressed, which can cause neglect in their personal lives, including their relationships. The problem arises when we believe that love and ambition are mutually exclusive. In reality, it's possible to balance a career with a meaningful relationship, but it requires intentional effort. Research from the University of California shows that couples who support each other's personal goals tend to have stronger, more stable relationships. This mutual support is key to maintaining both professional and romantic happiness. One way to balance love and work is by prioritizing quality time. Instead of checking emails or scrolling through social media during dinner, give your partner your undivided attention. Studies show that couples who have meaningful, distraction-free conversations have stronger emotional bonds. Even small moments of connection, like sharing a coffee in the morning, can strengthen a relationship. Time management also plays a role. Dr. Perel suggests scheduling relationship dates just like you would schedule a meeting for work. By carving out dedicated time for your partner, you ensure that love isn't sacrificed for ambition. While work is important, it shouldn't consume all your time. Remember, a successful career is often built on a foundation of emotional stability, which comes from healthy, supportive relationships. Another helpful strategy is setting boundaries. Know when to say no to extra work and when to say yes to time with your loved one. According to psychologist Dr. Sherry Turkle, technology may connect us, but it also disconnects us from the people right in front of us. By setting boundaries around work and technology, you can create space for meaningful connections. Chapter 6: Rewriting Love. How to break free and find true happiness. The final chapter is all about breaking free from old, limiting beliefs and rewriting what love means to you. Modern love often feels like a scripted role we're supposed to play, where we're told to meet certain expectations and follow certain rules. But true love isn't about following a script, it's about creating your own narrative. To start, it's essential to define what love means to you. Forget about what you've seen on TV or heard from friends. What values and qualities do you want in a partner? According to relationship researcher Dr. Helen Fisher, having a clear vision of what you want in love leads to stronger, more authentic relationships. Take the time to reflect on what makes you feel loved, and communicate that with your partner. Another key strategy is to embrace vulnerability. Love doesn't thrive in walls and armor. As Dr. Brené Brown beautifully puts it, vulnerability is not winning or losing, it's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Being vulnerable allows you to connect on a deeper level and build trust with your partner. In the age of quick fixes and superficial connections, it's easy to forget that love is a long-term commitment. Building lasting love requires work, patience, and ongoing growth. As the Harvard study of adult development found, the key to happiness isn't wealth or success, it's the quality of your relationships. So, invest time and effort into developing a strong emotional connection with your partner. Lastly, don't be afraid to redefine love on your own terms. In a world that constantly tells us how to love, it's important to trust our instincts and find our own path. Break free from society's rules and create a love story that's uniquely yours. You have the power to build a relationship based on respect, honesty, and mutual growth, one where happiness isn't a byproduct, but the foundation. If you enjoyed these insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more advice on building a healthier, happier love life. By embracing these strategies, you can rewrite the narrative of modern love and find deeper, more fulfilling connections. It's time to break free from the illusions, superficial connections, and emotional baggage holding us back. Love isn't a destination, it's a journey, and by making small, intentional changes, you can find true happiness along the way.